Daily Message, October 7, 2022. Covenant Relationship with God, Part 7. God's covenant was not limited to a brief period in the past, and it was a covenant that pointed to all the earth. For as the Lord said to Abram in Genesis 12:3, "In you all the families of the earth will be blessed." And as God foretold through the prophet Isaiah, "Behold, my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I will also hold you by the hand and watch over you, and I will appoint you as a covenant to the people, as a light to the nations." In other words, if Israel would not fulfill their role as a righteous example to the world, God would raise up a servant who would be a light to the nations. The covenant pointing to all the nations did not diminish God's covenant care for his people, for he spoke through the prophets to try and get them to honor the covenant. For example, Hosea condemned Israel for transgressing the covenant. Jeremiah based his preaching on the covenant, claiming Israel of his day had broken the covenant just as they did in Moses' day. He also provided a portrait of God's promise of a new covenant that would be nested in the hearts of people, enabling them to obey, and that forgiveness would characterize God's relationship to the new covenant people. Ezekiel related the history of Israel as God's covenant of mercy, broken by a people who despised it. Zechariah promised that the exiles would return to Jerusalem because God would be true to the covenant. Old Testament covenant language ending in the last book of the Old Testament with God's announcement in Malachi 3:1 that the messenger of the covenant would come, proving that covenant relationship is not a thing of the past. Let us thank God that he did not give up on his people or the nations, but sent his Son as the blood of the new covenant. With love to all, Pastor Cheryl.